Good morning. The amazing flourishing of humanity, despite all the horrendous things that go on. A new sunrise every day giving us hope. Profound hope, great hope. Lots of clouds on the horizon of humanity. And yet there's a new sunrise every day. Oh, a little message to all those who see this video on YouTube each day. I want to apologize for Sunday's video on my canal, and also to thank you. So to apologize because for some little quirk, I put it on private, and it was supposed to be public. There are little settings, and I must have touched it inadvertently, and so those who want to see it on my channel weren't able to see it. And I only realized when I was posting it yesterday, the video for yesterday, I realized that the day before had 0 views, and I figured that must have a certain explanation. And it was because I had the wrong setting. And a big thank you for all those who subscribe, because that brings it to the attention of more people, and more people can share in the joy of this extraordinary gift we have every morning here at the Sea of Galilee to see the sunrise. And that brings us great freshness also to a lot of great interest and value. I would say just the area of nature, and to be in contact with nature. And the invitation, so many people tell me they go for walks because of this in nature. They're motivated to go outdoors. Because nowadays we can be completely satisfied with the screens inside the house. And I hope the sunrise stroll and chat doesn't increase that addiction, but motivates you to go outside to see the real and to engage with real people outside. Real, everybody, we're real at the other end of a screen, but in the sense of that direct human contact. That's so important. We see it today in the readings as well. Very, very important, the direct human contact. That is such the great blessing of humanity. The great blessing of humanity, obviously, first great blessing is all of nature, that we have our 5 senses. We can touch and see and smell and taste and hear. You know, these are extraordinary, and see the nuances of color, the nuances of sound. We recognize people's accents and voices. Family members each has a different voice, and that's amazing. And we can pick that up. We get used to that. There's a great treasure in, and that encounter then with each person. Each person has such dignity, and is we have different encounters today as well in the scriptures. And this is where we need to have this real. It's great to have the telecommunications, the social media, so we can connect with a lot of people and see a lot of things that we couldn't see from our own home. Like how many people now know the shape of the Sea of Galilee here and the physical realities, and it helps them to understand the scriptures more. So there's great value in that, for sure. But I want to thank you for spreading the word about it, and then the video actually gets posted also on the Magdala platforms, Magdala YouTube and Magdala Facebook, each morning. So I noticed that those who had access to the Magdala YouTube were able to see the video. A couple of hundred had seen it yesterday, the Sunday video. And so there's a nice option as well. And I really encourage you to be familiar with the Magdala website, because it brings you a lot of other things besides this sunrise stroll and chat. Many other wonderful things, like, for example, the great pilgrimages that Kathleen has been leading these years, and many other things. And so I think our ducks have come over to, our geese, our Egyptian geese have come over on our side here to visit you this morning, because I'm not going too far, since I have the other camera doing the video for the film crew in California. It's picking up this beautiful sunrise, so they have footage that they could use if they need it. And these geese are really growing quickly. So then let's go back to a big piece of news yesterday. A marvelous document was issued on human dignity. And obviously humanity will go down as a milestone in history. In 1948, the document on the dignity of the human person, the foundation of international human rights. And that was an extraordinary milestone for humanity. And after the aftermath of the horrors of World War II, and World War I had its share of horrors, but World War II triggered such a reaction in humanity, and that led to the Declaration of Human Rights, the rights of each person, the rights of prisoners in war conditions, the rights, so many different rights were articulated. It's really a foundational document that's been very helpful, because a lot of countries have emerged on the world platform and in the international scene, and there have always been lots of abuse and manipulation, exploitation of people by conquerors. Very unfortunate, and some of them have even a label that they were Christians, that they were baptized, and that's really a sad situation. But we're all in a work of conversion and a work of change, and we can all regress or we can all progress. And what I find, even though I'm just beginning to get into the document, is I'm finding that it's really evidence to a great growth, despite all the setbacks and all the brutalities and all the crimes. It's a great testimony to the growth of the development of thought about the dignity of the human person that has emerged. And it's nice that it starts off giving account of the dignity of the human being as accessible to human reason. That's where it starts off, and that's beautiful. And there is a wonderful point of encounter with all those who don't share our faith. Obviously then, with the biblical faith and the revelation of biblical faith, look at my high-tech solution here today. I couldn't get the tripod to balance, so I put up two little stones here to keep it fixed. And I hope there was no little living being down in here, but it felt very warm inside the hole in the tree trunk. And I was afraid some little animal might come out and knock it over, but it's a nice position here. So it's really consoling to see that despite all of the incredible inhumanity of people throughout the centuries, the millennia, that there has been true progress in the understanding of human dignity, and its splendid emergence, like a sunrise, a slow sunrise, a time-lapse sunrise throughout history. So that's I find that beautiful. And today we have the encounter of Nicodemus with Jesus, and that major issue of dealing with humanity. And obviously from the faith we share all those who believe in, let's say, the book of Genesis as an inspired book. And even if you don't believe that it's inspired by God, just the very idea that the human being has such dignity, made in the image and likeness of God. It gives the human being, it raises the bar for our thinking. That we measure ourselves with the extraordinary goodness of God, and little by little also God is being discovered by each of us. We're still discovering God. We're discovering how merciful He is. For many people it's very, very challenging to discover God as merciful and to discover God as love, personally loving us. And I think only in eternity are our eyes going to be completely opened to the extraordinary feast of love that God is for us. That God is in Himself, and therefore for us as a huge blessing. A fountain an infinity flowing of love. And the title of the document is actually that, of the Dignitas infinita, the infinite dignity of the human person. And I give you a link here, and it takes a little bit of work to work through the terminology. It's obviously special technical terminology, but it's not too difficult, I think. It's quite understandable. Maybe you have to check out one or two words or whatever, or reread a couple of thoughts because of the profound philosophical content. But that's a good exercise. So Jesus said to Nicodemus, "You must be born from above. The wind blows where it wills, and you can hear the sound it makes, but you do not know where it comes from, where it goes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit." How can this happen? We're at a very high point of development of the faith in the Creator God who is love with this text. And it's also in the context of a community that's already has been living the Easter joy for not just a week, an octave, but for 2 generations. And so the text here speaks very much into their own experience of being reborn, of discovering a new strength to live the full measure of human dignity. A redemption from a selfishness which allows us in the normal day-to-day to abuse other people, to be unfair, to lie, to cheat, to hurt. You know, this is an unfortunate behavior pattern we have. And to break away from that, from addictions, from pride, to overcome sensuality, habits of pleasure indulgence that will be taken at the expense of the other. A dominion that's grown through harshness to the other, through shouting, through imposition, through banging of a fist, through pulling a gun, to bombing other people, bombing them with words, bombing them emotionally, bombing them intellectually. To treat each person in their dignity, no matter where they are on the scale of different capacities and strengths. And we need a new birth. We need to start over. And there we see in the first reading as well. By the way, a little trivia question on a lighter note. How many Josephs can you name in the Bible? Come on, how many Josephs can you name in the Bible? Well, the big story of Joseph sold to Egypt by his brothers, and the great revelation of the discovery of how to forgive, the discovery of divine providence. And that was a discovery of God's love and playing out in love toward each other. You know, it's amazing how as we discover God and his majesty in every order, also in the moral order, in the spiritual order, not just in the creation order. The more we discover God, the more we can become more human toward each other. And that's really also at the basis of the development of human dignity. Marvelous, absolutely marvelous. So the second Joseph is obviously the Joseph with Mary in Nazareth, looking after Jesus in his preparing for his birth and his childhood and into his adult life. And then there's Joseph in the reading today. His other name is Barnabas, and he's also called Joseph. But that was just a little trivia question to lighten up things a little bit. But the people are living together with one heart and one mind, one soul. And there's an extra little piece, because we had that text the other day, but there's an extra piece added today as we go on the more systematic reading. And it has the story of how Barnabas, Joseph, a person of great consolation, that brings consolation to others. What a beautiful way to treat people in their dignity, to bring them consolation, to bring them strength in moments of discouragement. To bring them strength in moments of discouragement. And he's a son of consolation. That's beautiful, isn't it? A beautiful name for him, Barnabas. And so he went and he sold his property and put it at the disposition of the community. And this was the first community in Jerusalem living like this. And actually this continues today in religious congregations. 50 years ago I joined our community and I don't own any money. The other day a bishop gave me a gift for providing a particular service. And I said to him with a smile, well, I'll be giving this to the community. And he looked at me. And then he realized, of course, with the vow of poverty, I don't own my own money. And what we share, we all share together. And living like that for 50 years has its impact. It doesn't mean everything is perfect, but at least it's an effort to live in that shared way in our life. And that's a beautiful, beautiful treasure for the church and for humanity, to discover that. And to live for the other, to live with the others, to share with the others. So I think we've gone a little bit over time probably, forgive me. And bless you, may you rejoice today in this beautiful day. I'll do the picture around the other way today and see how it works. The sunrise here in the back. It's not easy to get the light to go together here. So there we go. So I'm trying to see how to do it. Come on, there we go. God bless you people. See you later, alligators. Read the document there, you got the link.